Okay, so first thing that we're gonna learn is a little formality. It's bowing. Okay, so if I am your instructor, out of respect, chariot, attention, feet are together, hands at the side. I look at you, you're looking at me, and we bow to show respect. I look forward to training with you today. Okay, now, first thing we're going to do from here, from this chariot position, which means attention, we're going to go into our fighter stance, chumbi. Chumbi means ready. So, fighter stance, chumbi, ha, okay, ha, ki up, means spirit up, okay? So now I'm in my fighter stance, and let's break this down, okay? So, imagine you are my opponent, you are 12 o'clock, okay? So, you are 12 o'clock, that's 3 o'clock, that's 6 o'clock, and that is 9 o'clock, okay? So our opponent is 12 o'clock. When I say your opponent's in front of you, they're 12 o'clock. A few things. My feet, okay? So my feet are in what's called a bladed stance. Bladed stance, you can draw a straight line from the back toe to the front toe all the way to 12 o'clock. It's like the edge of a blade, okay? This has its own advantages and disadvantages. Taekwondo is a linear sport. There's a lot of forward and backwards motion because our kicks snap on line, okay? And I'll go more into this in detail in the future when we start talking about our kicks. But for today, we are in a bladed stance, okay? Now, my front foot is pointed around 1 o'clock and my back foot is also pointed around 1 or 2 o'clock, okay? So this is my foot angle. In terms of my foot width, like how far my feet are from each other, I typically like to teach it where it's 1.5 shoulder width, right? So if this is 1 shoulder width, right, this is 1.5, okay? So here I am, 1.5 shoulder distance apart, feet, let's say my opponent's now 12 o'clock in front of me, my feet are angled at 1 to 2 o'clock, okay? Now my weight is on the front part of my foot, okay? So I like to call this the balls of my feet, okay? So these are the balls of my feet and the weight is on the balls of my feet. My heels can touch the ground, that's fine, but I don't have any weight on them, okay? So when I'm in my fighting stance, I'm on the balls of my feet. My feet are 1.5 shoulder distance apart and the feet angle is around 1 or 2 o'clock. Now, it's important that my weight's on the balls of my feet because there I can use my ankles to help me articulate and move around. If the weight's on my heels, I can't use my ankles to move, okay? It's also hard to make adjustments, so we don't want to fight on our heels, we want to stay on the balls of our feet. Now, in terms of our position, so now my opponent's 12 o'clock here, the foot that's closest to my opponent, right, that is my front foot, okay? The foot that's farthest from my opponent, they're in front of me, that's my back foot. Similarly, the arm that's closest to my opponent, that is called the lead arm, or the front arm, okay? Front hand, etc. And the hand that's behind, that's called the back hand, okay? So, in my Taekwondo fighting stance chumbi, I am on my balls of my feet, my front arm is covering my front oblique, my front hip. This is to protect against cut kicks, etc. It can also be used to block the head, etc. My back hand is covering my stomach. This is my default position. And this is especially important in electronic style sparring, as you can easily block and protect these sensors on your hogu. But for now, this is the fighting stance. I'm on the balls of my feet. And similarly, like we're jumping rope, we're on our toes and we're pulsing. Wait, I'm not going up like a jump rope, I'm coming down. I'm pulsing down. As you see, as I'm pulsing down, my knees are bracing. This allows me to, boom, throw a kick, etc. Move around. I can move very quickly. But for now, that's just the fighting stance. We have to be comfortable in our fighting stance on both sides, right? So what I just did there is I jumped and I switched my feet. It's important when you switch your feet, you don't jump high. All right, we want to stay low. Switch, 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 just switch. We want to switch our feet quickly and stay low, because the more time we're in the air, the less time we're on the ground. And you want to be on the ground Because on the ground you can move. You can move. When you're in the air, you can't move. You're stuck in the spot. So you have to move around. You have to stay low. So every time you switch your feet, it's important that you also switch your hands. We switch our hands, we switch our feet. We stay low, we're balanced. Okay? So that is the fighter stance chumbi. That is step one. It's the first thing that you have to learn. It's important that when you do this, you keep your hands in guards. So if you want to practice this at home or with your friend, you can stand in front of each other and switch your feet. And when they switch their feet, you switch your feet. When you switch, they switch. Okay? Keep your weight on the balls of your feet, hands in your guard, and that's the fighting stance.